Perfect. All right. First, Mark, make sure you grab those emails that are in the chat for the new to LCI, please.
Got them already.
Okay. Thank you. So we have got 3 things from last week. We've got one new update that I want to give you a sneak peek into. And then if anybody has any questions about, we also have the product roadmap updated in the platform, so I'll go over that. So as usual, put any comments, complaints, questions, or criticisms in the chat, and we will get moving. So the very first thing is we have added quite a few tiles to the dashboard. So we now have the Microsoft Secure Score tile. If you are a Smileback partner, we have the Smileback CSAT score tile, customizable here based on the time frame. We have the assessment event score history. Of course, on my tile, I have so many assessments that I've done for a particular client. That makes a lot of scrolling to do, but you can see that you can track progress over time. So a lot of people wanted to talk about or show progress over time on an assessment or multiple assessments. So now you can see how they are scoring. We also have the Microsoft summary tile. So you'll notice some of these, and the recommendation tile as well. Some of these are in a different order, so you can now customize what you see on your dashboard. So if I go to the top right and click edit, there are eyeballs on the top right of the tiles, and you can choose to hide them. So if I do, it'll move down to the bottom in case you want to unhide them later. But once I hit save, it's going to make it disappear from this view until I choose to edit again. So I can hide some of these. I can move them around, put Microsoft up here, budget forecast, whatever I would like in whatever order. And if I save, that'll save my view, but here is the security grouping that if I want to set it for my tenant so that it always is this way, or for a particular security group, I can grab that group here. So if I didn't want my clients to see the missing data score, I didn't want them to see the tech debt tile, etc., I can click on whatever security group and save it. And then when they log in, they will not see those tiles. So when I saved it, I went back to my view, but now that creative demo will not see those missing tiles. It doesn't work for me because I would have to impersonate, and I'm not going to log out and log back in as somebody else. But you can test it for yourself to make sure that when you log back in, you can get a different view. So lots of flexibility, again, with the new tiles and the ability to customize it, move it around, etc. We also, while we are up here, we have created, so you can see where you used to be able to filter location, asset type, and asset status, used to hang out up here in this top bar. You now can hide the filters or show the filters, and because they are here, this will now hold across pages. So I can hide this so you can see that I've got active filters or servers and workstations, so you can always keep an eye on what you have filtered. And when I jump to the asset list, it used to be that my filter would go away and refresh every time, but now that filter is saved. It turns green, has the indicator, so you can turn it back on, refilter from this new page. But this way, a lot of folks were trying to set their budgets, etc., and they would jump back and forth, and they would keep losing the losing their filters. So we hope that makes it a lot easier, not having to go back and resave, etc. Any questions on any of that from the homepage? Okay, then I am going to jump to, more reports, because this one, we haven't made an official announcement yet. So if you weren't paying attention and you've watched all my videos, I still have a secret for you. So I feel like that's always good to have a surprise. If you are a ConnectWise partner, and click into the ticketing dashboard. On the tiles on the board, there are now drill throughs. So now you can see the tickets specifically that were in that particular tile. This primarily is to help you with troubleshooting, but sometimes people will say there's a disconnect, and this way you can say, oh, what are those 3 tickets that we closed the previous 2 months? They're right there. So this again should save you from having to chase down, go open ConnectWise back and forth. You can see exactly what we are pulling. And then lastly is budget forecast, something that's in there now. And then I want to show you what other view they are adding. So in the budget forecast, we have had a long-standing request to be able to set fiscal year. And so now you can set fiscal year. So if I click into the gear and change reporting options, one of the options, so normally you would normally see quarterly, monthly, yearly, you can now select by fiscal year. If you select by fiscal year, you get to do, now we assume the fiscal year starts at the beginning of whatever month it is that you select. So fiscal year starts July 1. I want to show 6 periods, etc. And I can choose to create a saved view from this, or I can just set it for the time period that I'm looking at it. But when I do that, you will see that the titles change fiscal year starting on July 1st, 22, 23, etc. So that view now gets you into the right budgeting year. One thing with that, a lot of things populate into overdue, right? When you're pushing a fiscal year out to, right, we're already halfway through part of a fiscal year. I might have things that are in overdue, but are not showing on the budget. So this, we can now generate the budget forecast for anything that is still in overdue prior to the date that is, because normally our budget forecast is from the current date moving forward. So if I wanted to add some of my overdue items, like let me see when these servers became overdue, May of 2022. All right. I'll just grab a while earlier. So you can see that now I have items from fiscal year 2021, fiscal year 21-22 that were in the overdue category. So you get to select if it stays in overdue or if you want to show the budgeted year with that date. Questions on that?
So Marnie, we select fiscal year and we save it as a view. I can't just say customer A's fiscal year is this, customer B's fiscal year is that, and set it per customer.
Not yet. Right now, you'll have to save it within their view. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Now, if my guess is in the United States, typically there are a lot of July ones and then there are a lot of January ones, right? So if you know which is which, you probably just need to create one July 1 view, but we can't yet set it as this client always wants to see this view. Does that make sense?
Understood. Yep.
Okay. But I'm thinking you probably only need the 2 views, but yeah, if you want it to remember it for you, you would have to create however many clients you've got view. But I think you can just do 2. And then what I think makes sense would be to put it in as an app setting to be able to say this client fiscal year, you know, X, Y, or Z. So it always holds for them.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you a sneak peek. Hopefully, I never know when the developers are playing in it. So let's find out. So this is the budget forecast in a card view. This is just a view. So we just updated the recommendations where you can drag and drop, right? So in the recommendation card view, I can drag and drop and say, okay, this recommendation we're actually going to do in Q2, that will update the budget, etc. The budget forecast is just a view across everything. So I can't drag and drop things in the budget. The reason for that is there are lots of places where you wouldn't want to update. And Greg, I'm actually curious. I figured when I show this today, I would love your take on it. I would hate for you to drag your servers that were overdue into January through March and have it update the asset end of life, because you really needed to know the original end of life. You just want to sell them new ones in January through March. So the thinking is that this will be a view where we'll put an icon at the top, turn this into a recommendation so that you can then assign it a date, but it wouldn't overwrite the dates of the asset renewals on any of the tiles. I feel like that's a lot to digest. So I'll give folks a minute to think on that and then give me any feedback.
I didn't know you guys were working on this. I like this a lot. Knee-jerk reaction.
So some folks had said we'd like to see the budget view the same way, because it's just a very consumable way of like, oh, I've got 4 workstations with a total cost, et cetera. And as usual, you can turn off the components that you see. So if you don't want to see the recurring cost, et cetera. And then the thinking being, while you're in there, to be able to then say, all right, I'll build a recommendation, and then down the road, I'll build an opportunity from there. I like the applause. That would make a lot of sense, right? You can kind of kick it off from there.
I agree with your example too, that moving servers for planning dates shouldn't automatically assume that's also end of life date.
Yeah, so that's why this view will not be drag and droppable, because that is like the drag and drop notion is it kind of updates to the current date. This is your view of it, but you would be able to then kind of click and build a recommendation from there, or, like I said, in the future, an opportunity from there. The other piece that they are doing, just as fair warning, this is a long line of text showing you all of your settings, right? I find it very hard to read myself. Warranty renewal costs on, suppressed zeros on, overdue on, not scheduled on. They are adding another icon next to the gear that is a hover over that gives you a full view of that. So you will still have access to the data, but it just won't be a huge string of text. We're trying to get some more white space back on the screen. Anybody have any strong opinions? I literally saw that 1 minute before I jumped on this call. So we'd love any feedback if you have it.
Oh, exciting. This is a feature I didn't realize I wanted, but glad someone else suggested it.
That is the power of the community, is that happens more often than not. Somebody actually said that yesterday. They were doing an adoption call, and while we were on it, I showed them 3 things that we'd also built, and they're like, all right, I didn't know when I wanted all of that, but I did. So yeah, thanks for having it. Perfect. Well, those are the new bells and the new whistles. The budget piece is not out yet. Everything else, the changing the dashboard tiles, the budget fiscal year, that is out now. And again, if you are a ConnectWise managed partner with tickets, you can see the, with in the ticket drill through on this dashboard. Then we have updated the product roadmap. So if you ever want to check in and say, what did they say they were going to get to? So you can see we've got a lot of green already of things that have been deployed and things that they're working on. If you're listening in from EU, active work prototype being done for the EU instance. Also some onboarding automation enhancements, and we are nearing in on Hoodoo. And then we also plan on working on a Fin integration, also Report Locker. So as we near in at the end of the year, we'll be sharing what our thinkings are for next year. We certainly have no shortage of backlog items that other folks have shared either, on what we can look forward to in 2023. Alex, I see you joined by car, so don't look at the screen, but did you have any updates you wanted to share other than
No, I don't think I had anything. I have I now have travel money in my pocket for IT Nation, so
perfect.
come find me, guys. I'll be the guy at the bar buying you beers.
He's heading to the casino now.
We'll let you know.
I don't
If
gamble.
I-
I do enough dumb things in life. I don't feel like gambling's one more that I need to add.
The product roadmap should not be dependent on whether or not Alex is a good gambler, so we we don't have that. All right, anything else then? Alex, I did say at the beginning that we weren't sure if we were having this next week because of IT Nation. So if you had, I hadn't checked in with you on that. Do you have a strong opinion on that?
I think this is during booth teardown and everything else at IT Nation, and it is during my talk at IT Nation. So I think we would be best to cancel it.
Okay, so official word is we
So-
will cancel next week, and then we will no doubt bring lots of information the following week from IT Nation, all the lessons learned, et cetera.
That sounds like a plan.
For those of you that came in late, if you are not joining us at IT Nation, you can still sign up to get some of that cash that's in Alex's pocket. With this link. Tailgates2022.com. I'll send it in the email as well. But you can sign up for that to get some prizes. Do come find us. If you're at IT Nation, we absolutely would love to see you live. All right, well, I just feel badly. I just let someone in. Ed, I just let you in, and now we're already over. It's terrible. I'll send the recording. All right. Well, have good ones, everybody. Have a great weekend.